Hey, what's up, everybody? This is actually going to be an NBA playoff preview video. So yeah, the NBA playoffs are finally upon us, and personally as a fan, I think the biggest matchup that I think most people want to see this. I think most people and the NBA as well. This would be the huge ratings getter for the league. Considering what happened with LeBron in the offseason, I think everyone would agree that there's a lot of intrigue with a Miami Los Angeles Lakers NBA Finals. I think that would just be tremendous. We've never seen Kobe and LeBron go at it in the finals, and I think this year it's more fitting than ever, considering the circumstances. So I would really love to see that. I would also really love to see Chicago and LA in the finals. Because this is the 20th anniversary since Michael Jordan's first championship, when Chicago defeated the Los Angeles Lakers in the finals. So I would love to see that as well. I think there's a lot of star power there. That's a fresh matchup, and really that's probably my favorite, actually. I think that would be just phenomenal if that would happen. Lakers and Boston in the finals, that's another intriguing matchup. However, though, I think it's kind of been done to death. I'm kind of sick of Boston in LA. I've kind of had my fill of it. I mean, this would be the rubber match, because the Celtics won in 2008, the Lakers won in 2010. Now we can finally see who truly is the better team. But I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. There's just bigger matchups that I think people would rather see than another LA-Boston matchup. The other one would be the Knicks. Stranger things have happened before. I know the Knicks are only the number 6 seed, but, back in 1999, they were the 8th seed. They made it all the way to the finals. So, anything could happen, especially with Chauncey, Carmelo, and Amari. I think it's a deadly trio, and I wouldn't really count it out. So we'll see what happens there. I think New York and LA, that's another, big ratings getter. That has a lot of intrigue as well. I also think San Antonio and Miami will be a pretty nice matchup. Because LeBron could avenge the 2007 NBA Finals when he got swept by the Spurs. So I think that there's a little bit of interest there as well. A lot of people aren't talking about that matchup, but yeah, this is going to be a preview video. I just want to stick to the first round. I don't want to give you my picks for every single round. I think it's a little bit too tough. It's a lot of guessing going on if you're going to do that. But I just want to stick to the first round for this video. So let's start with the Eastern Conference. We have the Chicago Bulls and the Indiana Pacers. This would be the first round matchup in the East. And I think this would be a good series. I think Indiana's kind of underrated. They've beaten a lot of good teams. They've beaten Miami. They've beaten the Lakers. But they've been kind of inconsistent, though. They just barely got into the playoffs. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they could win a game in Indiana. They're a solid team. They play together. They got guys that could shoot. They got, Danny Granger, arguably one of the best scorers in the league. But, Derrick Rose and the Bulls are too strong. You just got to worry about Joakim Noah. I know his ankle's kind of hurt right now, but I'm sure they'll be okay. They should definitely win this series in about 5 games. All right, so let's move on to the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic. Now, a lot of people are saying that Atlanta is better this year. Like, they know how to play Dwight Howard. They got some bigs coming off the bench that could, give Dwight Howard some trouble. I don't think so. I don't think they have the answer for Dwight Howard. They just lost 6 straight games. I don't like this team. I think they have a lot of guys on this team that just play basketball just for the money. I don't think a lot of guys even love the game on this team, like Josh Smith and Marvin Williams. I don't know. I just think this team has so much potential and so much talent, yet they disappoint year after year. And they got swept by Orlando last year. I don't expect anything different. I think Orlando's playing good. I think they're a little bit underrated, actually. They got good scoring. They got a lot of good go-to options and guys that can hit clutch shots when the game is on the line. So I would actually say I like Orlando to actually sweep this series once again. I think Dwight Howard's a beast. They have no answer for Dwight Howard. He's been on fire this year. All right, so next match, we have number 2 versus number 7, Miami Heat taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, man, this should be a really good series. Philadelphia has been great. I think Doug Collins, without a doubt, a Coach of the Year contender. He really brought this team back to life. This is the first time Philly made the playoffs, I think, since 2003. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. Miami won the season series. They beat the Sixers 3 times out of 3. So, you would expect Miami to pretty much easily win this series. But Miami, you never know with Miami. You could see Bosh, having a couple weak games, and a couple of these games actually being close. I could actually see Philly pulling out the first game. But I think when it comes right down to it, Miami's gonna, take this series by the and squeeze it by the throat, when they go back to Philadelphia. So I'd probably say see Miami win this series in about 5 games. The other series we have number 3 versus number 6, the Boston Celtics versus the New York Knicks. Oh wow, this is a great matchup. I would say that out of all the first round matchups, this is the sexiest matchup. This is the most intriguing because I really feel like the Knicks have a chance to pull off the upset, especially since Boston has been playing well. They lost Kendrick Perkins. It's looking like that trade for Jeff Green, the Jeff Green Danny. I'm sorry, what's his name? Kendrick Perkins trade was actually kind of a mistake. I don't think it was necessarily a smart trade looking back on it, but yeah, I mean, people are saying that the Celtics don't match. I mean, the Knicks don't match up with the Celtics that well, and I would agree. If you look at the last couple of years, the Celtics have absolutely annihilated the Knicks. There was one time the Knicks only scored 50 points in one of the games. They had like 54 points, which is pathetic. But I think this is a new New York Knicks team now. I think they're better defensively with Chauncey Billups. And you got Carmelo and Amari, two of the greatest scorers in the game. They haven't been playing with each other for that long. So I don't know. I really think, once they, get Boston down and once they, get comfortable, I think anything could happen. And I think people are kind of underestimating, Chauncey Billups' ability. I mean, this guy has, out of any point guard in the league, he has more experience than anybody. And he's pretty slick, too. He knows how to adjust. And I think he'll be fine. I think he could really, out of anyone, I think he can slow Rondo down. I think he's smart enough to do that. And, it should be good, though. But you never know. Boston, last year, they fooled a lot of people. People counted them out. They thought they were too slow, too banged up. They started slipping in the regular season, and then, boom, they made it to the NBA Finals. So the same thing could happen. But I don't think they're as good. They're relying on Shaq and Jermaine O'Neal to kind of, fill in the gap for Kendrick Perkins. And I don't think it's just good. I don't think it's going to get the job done. I think Amari's going to have a field day. I think the only guy Amari has to worry about is Kevin Garnett. But, Garnett's 34 years old. He's getting old. I think they'll be fine. I think the Knicks could definitely easily take this to 6 games. And I think the Knicks will actually pull this off and pull off the upset. So I'm going to pick the Knicks to win this series in about 6 or 7 games. I'll probably say 6 games to win in Madison Square Garden in Game 6. All right, so let's move on to the Western Conference. The first seed, we have the San Antonio Spurs versus the Memphis Grizzlies. I think San Antonio's underrated. I'm sorry, I think San Antonio's actually overrated. I just don't think they're that good. Obviously, I think they just won all the games that they should have won earlier on in the season. But they're pretty banged up right now. Ginobili's hurt. I just think they're going to start to feel it once the playoffs start. They're playing a pretty good team. The Memphis Grizzlies. This is a pretty underrated team. They're a very, very strong 8th seed, I would say. They got a combination of everything. They got a great point guard in Mike Conley Jr. Then they got Zach Randolph, who's one of the better big men in the league, who could really give Duncan, a lot of trouble inside. They got a great scorer in O.J. Mayo. So I think they're a pretty well-rounded team. I think they're definitely good enough to win at least 2 games. I'm not saying they're going to win the series, but, Memphis, this would probably be the best showing that Memphis has had in the playoffs so far. They've gotten swept the last couple of times. They made it to the playoffs with Pau Gasol. Even against the Spurs, I think they got swept. But I think they'll be fine here. But I say San Antonio win the series in about 6 games. All right, so the winner of that series will play the Oklahoma City Denver matchup. So we got Oklahoma City at number 4, Denver at number 5. And, out west, I would probably say this is another, really solid matchup. Since the Carmelo trade, Denver has had a lot of chemistry. They've been playing a lot better than expected. They're still a very, very fast-paced team who could score the ball. And, I don't know, they've just gotten better, since the whole Carmelo thing blew over. You could definitely see they're just having fun out there. They've only lost about 4 or 5 games since the trade. But, Oklahoma City's way too strong. I think they're a lot better than what their record shows you. I really think they are. They got 2 of the best players in the league, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, and now they got Kendrick Perkins. They've been playing great, actually. So I would expect Oklahoma City to win this thing in about 6 games. I'll give Denver maybe 1 or 2 games, but I think people are kind of underestimating how good Oklahoma City really is. And if Oklahoma City and San Antonio, they're going to play each other in the 2nd round, that should be a great matchup as well. I can see Oklahoma City definitely upsetting the Spurs, without a doubt. I think that's easy. So, yeah, that San Antonio-Oklahoma City series should be awesome, actually. All right, the next matchup we have number 2 versus number 7, the Lakers and the New Orleans Hornets. out of anyone in the first round, I think I would, if I were the Lakers, this is the team you want to play, because I don't think this team is really clicking right now. They've gotten continually worse as the season went on. They started off with the best record in the league, but they lost David West. Chris Paul's not playing good. There was a game a couple weeks ago where he had 0 points against the Grizzlies. So I don't know, man. I just don't think New Orleans has it in them to win a game in this series. I'm going to say the Lakers are going to easily sweep this series. The Lakers are finally, they got the regular season over with. They're going to start playing hungry again. They're going to come out with a lot of energy, and they're just going to sweep this thing. So Lakers going to take it 4-0. All right, next series we have, this is probably the most intriguing matchup on the West. We have the Dallas Mavericks, number 3, taking on the Portland Trailblazers, number 6. I mean, everyone's scared to play Portland. I think even some of the people out of Dallas admitted that, Dallas did not want to play Portland in the first round. This is a very, very scary team. They've gotten better as the season went on, despite, having a lot of injury problems. Brandon Roy was their best player at the beginning of the year. He had, problems with his knee. I think he fucked up his ACL or something like that. I'm not sure. But, he's become more of a role player, and I think it's definitely benefited their team. While he was out, LaMarcus Aldridge, quietly became, the most improved player in the league. Yeah, he would be my pick for most improved. There was a stretch of games where LaMarcus had like 35 points. And he had over 35 in like 7 or 8 games, which is phenomenal. I mean, the guy has had a remarkable season. And then on top of that, they brought in Gerald Wallace from the Bobcats. That was a great trade. They've been on fire since that trade. And then, that guy Matthews, one of the biggest surprises of the year, he stepped in and, has been a very, no one knew a lot about him, but, defensively and offensively, he's been pretty well-rounded. So I think they got a really good team, and it's scary to think. Dallas has a reputation of losing in the first round. It happened in 2007. So we'll see what happens. I think Dallas, with Jason Terry and some of those guys, are very inconsistent. It's all up to Dirk. Dirk's got to play with a lot of aggressiveness and really, really come out hard in the first game. They need to win those first 2 games in Dallas. But, I'm going to say Dallas is going to pull it off. This is going to be a great series. I'm going to say Dallas is going to win it in 7 games. So, yeah. So that's pretty much the first round. Really quickly, like I said, I think Oklahoma City is going to play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. This would be a nice, continuation of what they did last year in the first round. Like I said, I still see the Lakers making it to the finals. They got too much firepower. Even with Andrew Bynum hurt, if you look at the last couple seasons, Bynum hasn't really had a great playoffs. He's only averaged about 5 or 6 points. So they've still gotten it done without Bynum playing dominant. I think they need Bynum against a team like the Celtics, but, against the rest of the Western Conference, I don't think it's like a make-or-break situation as far as Andrew Bynum goes. But, yeah, out in the East, I'm going to say Miami and Chicago are going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. This should be a hell of a series. It really could go either way, to tell you the truth. Miami's due to win a lot of these games because they got swept by Chicago during the regular season. But, who knows what's going to happen here. Chicago definitely has Miami's number. It could pretty much go either way. But, I would say Miami and LeBron will still pull it out. One thing about Chicago is they've never been, favorites, and they don't have a lot of playoff experience. So, anything could happen. So I'm going to say Miami and the Lakers in the finals. Should be an excellent playoffs. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. All right, take it easy.